to Unleash Your Potential, and this is a workshop based around unleashing your potential in the sense of, are we setting goals, and are we setting goals that actually are keeping us safe, are keeping us in our comfort zone, and just keeping us ticking over without really thinking beyond what we think we can do. So this workshop's just going to be a real good taster into expanding your thoughts, your goal setting, which will then lead to taking action and thinking about the potential of what you can do and what's possible. This can relate to any type of goal, and I'll go through that as I go along. It's not just about career or business or anything like that. Goals can be anything that you set yourself. And sometimes if we haven't actually got a goal in mind, we're just sort of mulling along, and we can get a bit fed up with that. And sometimes that's where we can get a bit lethargic, a bit down about things, because we've not actually got anything to aim for. And sometimes we need, just if it's the daily aims, weekly aims, a year ahead, something to look forward to. We always say about that holiday syndrome. You know, we're like, I need something to look forward to. It becomes a goal, doesn't it? That holiday is like, right, you don't really know that you're going to pay for it, but you know, as soon as you book it, where there's a will, there's a way, and you'll save and you pay for that holiday. It's the same with all other principles of other things. If you start to focus in on it, you don't always know how you're going to get there, but you'll find a way of getting there. But sometimes we'll don't do that, and we'll just sort of muddle along. And sometimes it's good to rein ourselves back in and just think about, what am I actually doing? What do I want to do? Where do I want to go? So it's hopefully going to guide you along in that and just open a bit of thoughts. I always say things that always happen today, that nugget of information will come through today, but it might come through in a day, it might come through in a week, where something lands and you go, oh God, yeah, that's what she was on about. Or, oh, that's that idea I've had that keeps cropping up. Maybe I should follow that path a bit and just see what happens. So it might not all come today, but the thought path will start. And that's part of that process. Have you got your pens and papers ready?
Yes.
Ready. So welcome as well to like spending an hour and a half just thinking about you, because we don't often do that as well. We often think about others. So this is about you and your goals. So I'm just going to share my screen, and hopefully this presentation will pop up. And it's taking its time, as it does. Brilliant. Right. So we're going to look into the first bit. So as I said, as a bit of an introduction, it's a workshop come masterclass style. We've got a pen and paper. If you haven't already grabbed one, grab a pen and paper. Hopefully you've got a drink. I'm going to ease you into it, get you thinking about you, and you'll have a bit of work to do. So buckle yourself in. It's going to be a journey. And this journey doesn't stop or start here. It moves and it evolves as you start to focus in on what you want to do. And it's small things, it's big things. There's no size thing about this. So what we're going to cover is why set goals, SMART goals, but I'm not going to talk about SMART goals. I'm going to mention SMART goals, but we're not thinking about SMART goals. Other sets of sort of goal setting frameworks, other things that are there, but SMART goals is the most common one. And then it's, are you thinking small? And what are your goals and we're going to go into that. Michelle, do you mind popping yourself on mute, hun?
Yeah. If I know how to do that.
You got it. I think you have because it was just a bit background noise on yours. Managed to do, yeah, brilliant, great. So I will go back. So yeah, we're just going to look at what are your goals, how you can achieve them, what's stopping you, what are your impossible goals. They're really the ones that I'm going to focus in on. Some action moves and a power move called I am. So that's what we're going to cover. There's quite a bit there, but hopefully we'll get through it. Some of it's a bit quicker than others. So first task, I want you to write down your 1 year goals and your 3 year goals. Think of personal goals, career goals, health goals, lifestyle goals. Just think of all the different goals, types of goals that you have. And I'll move that back again. Learning development goals, travel goals. You might have some experience goals. Well, things you want to do. Financial goals, relationship goals, home and environment goals. So I just want you to spend 5 minutes just writing down your year 1 goals. Like, what do you want to do in the next year? You don't have to tick all of that list and the goal for each one. Just pick out some things that you think, this is what I want to do in the next year. And then write things what you want to do in the next 3 years. It might seem hard at first, but just go with the flow, see what pops up. Think of those actual areas. Think of, that list as something to focus in on. So I'll just give you a couple of minutes now to write down those goals. So 1 year goal and 3 year goals. Just look at the list. If there's anything you maybe missed, you're not thought of, any health goals, lifestyle goals. I'm not going to ask you to share them, so they're whatever you want them to be. Don't feel like, oh, I dare put that in case she asks me about them. Jan, because you haven't got your camera on, will you let me know when you're...
Yeah, no worries, Sally.
Thank you. Maybe looking at about 5 for each one, at least.
Yeah, I'm done.
You're done. How are you, Michelle?
Yeah.
Done. How many have you got in each one for the girls?
I've got 5.
5 for each one. Have you, Jan? Have you got more?
I've got 5 for each one.
Yeah, brilliant. How easy or hard was it to write those goals?
I found it quite hard. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. Just thinking about first of all, isn't it? Put it on a paper.
Yeah, you almost feel like you put pressure on yourself to kind of get the best out your brain, but then your brain just goes, "Well, I don't know."
Yeah. 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 How did you find it, Michelle?
Yeah, I found it hard as well.
Yeah. Any of your girls surprise you that you put down so far?
No, not really.
No.
Yeah, there's stuff I've been thinking of for a while, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But never maybe put it down pen to paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. They've been sort of milling around in the brain, but nothing like in concrete on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And now that's the first set, isn't it? That at the moment, that's the first start of putting something down that you could plan towards. So we're going to come back to those goals. So when we're setting goals, we often see lots of different models. And why we set the goals is to create clarity. What you're going for, what you're aiming for. To inspire you to grow, to start to see you moving forward, getting out of that stuck situation, that feeling, and growing and moving forward. And it can be sometimes as easy as and simple as a daily goal. A goal, in some respects, is all relative to you, where you are now and where you want to go. If your goal could be as simple as gaining a good morning routine because you feel like everything's really chaotic, that might not be a goal for somebody who feels that their morning routine is okay and it's not affecting them. Equally, somebody who's really struggling at the moment, energy wise and mental health wise, getting out of bed can feel a struggle. So their aim is to get out of bed and it not feel a struggle. That is a goal in itself. So it's not always thinking of massive goals. It might be day-to-day goals, but it's also thinking beyond that. But it's all relative to that person and that growth where you are right now. Everybody's different, and where you are is where you're meant to be now. It enhances your focus, so you've got something to look towards. It gives you that motivation because you can start to think, and you're bringing those goals to the conscious, from your subconscious to the conscious. You're actively acting upon them. It'll boost your self-confidence because you start to be able to see where you're going and you do things towards it. You're going to create some balance and encourage balance in your world because you're going to set goals that are realistic to what you can do, but a little bit of stretching, and I'll go into that. It's going to provide you inner fulfillment. You're going to feel good that you've done them, that you've ticked off your list of your little goals that's creating your journey towards your big goals. It's going to give you your own guided intentions because you know whatever you're doing, you can see that you're doing it for a reason. And that helps you not feel that sort of mulling about and you don't quite know what to do or where to go or what you're doing. That feeling of a bit unsettlement, you can guide yourself. It also gives you a bit of resilience, and you invite joy into it because you can celebrate and do things as you go along the way in your journey to that goal. So I was on about SMART goals. This is a very, very common model of goal setting method, but it might not be the best method. and it might be a method that's keeping you small. The SMART goals has its place. It maybe has its place for its day-to-day tasks to make sure you're not overloading yourself. It maybe has its place in its monthly goals, or a place where in a workplace maybe it needs to be smart, it needs to be measurable, it needs to be specific, it needs to be achievable, it needs to be relevant, it needs to be time bound. And we have, especially in a lot of corporate industries and public industries, use SMART goals, and we're conditioned a bit to that. There's some of the wording in this that might actually be keeping you thinking small, and I'll go into that. But SMART goal and the framework of that means that it's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant, and it's time bound. But we'll touch on that in a bit. But that is what we usually see as a measure of and a framework for goal setting. There are others, and I put a list together of some of the others that people do use, but I just don't see them as common. We use one of them in coaching. So other frameworks are clear, focused, collaborative, emotional, appreciable, and refinable goals. That's a bit wishy-washy, isn't it? A whoop goal. That sounds brilliant. OKRs, objective and key results. That's probably quite a common one in the sense where people are just working to the objectives and the key results. Very numbers driven. Hard goals. That are goals that are heartfelt, animated, required and difficult to inspire commitment and effort. Hard goals. That's backward goal setting. I have done a bit of this in the past, particularly when I'm thinking with working with people where it's regarding employment and jobs that they desire. I'll say work backwards. What is the job? What is the job requirements? And then work back as to what you need to do to get to that. It only works if it's really straightforward measurement. And there's some more. We've got the grow model, which that's often used, and it's used quite often in the coaching model, where we'll set a goal, we'll look at the reality, the options, and the will of the person to do it. So that's quite a steady, good, and it model, and it digs into understand where you are now and the options of what you've got to do. So this is some of what I'll be using throughout this program, but also from my coaching, I use some grow model goal setting. I like this one, which is big, hairy, audacious goals, and it's encouraging you to set long-term goals that drive transformational change. Again, big language. Basically, big ass goals. Think of some big ass goals and how you're going to get there. Fast goals, packed goals, and V2 MOM. Vision, values, methods, obstacles, and measures. Very strategic, very much in the planning process of teams. So, but commonly we use the SMART model. But I want to talk about and let you think about impossible goals. Now, those are the ones that feel a bit big ass, scary goals, the ones that feel like wishes, that feel like dreams, but will come reality if you work towards them. And the reason that we feel that they're impossible is because we hang on this word of achievable. And the word achievable is in the SMART goals: measurable and achievable and time bound. 3 words that instantly can make you put goals down that you know you're going to achieve, that you know you've got a time scale to, and they're easy to measure. And big and impossible goals might not fall into that because you might not see them as being achievable. You'll only think about what you can achieve, what your mind lets you think is possible, where you are now, not where you're going to be and where you're going to go along the journey. This will only be as well achievable within the world of what you know. There is often a word that pops about, especially like I'm thinking of like ladies football and other things where it involves women particularly, or disabilities or sport. I'm thinking of sport particularly, but seeing is believing it. So if you don't see it happen to others or people that you can relate to, then you could believe it wouldn't happen to you as a goal. It's not achievable. And therefore you don't do it. You don't try and do it. You've tried it and it didn't happen. So you've done something and it didn't happen. So then you're not even trying again. You've already set your own boundaries and you've already set your own expectations of yourself. So you're not going to go beyond it. Society has set boundaries and their expectations of you. Your role in society, your role as that type of person has already been set. So you can't possibly go beyond that. You might have family that has set the boundaries and their expectations, and you either, that might be high expectations, it could even be low expectations, and you're going to sit in the family norm. Someone has told you before that you can't or you won't achieve X, Y, and Z. So then you start to play it small, or you start to think that's true. So then you start to put goals that are smaller than what you can achieve and will achieve over time. And the biggest one of all is your self-belief, your own self-belief. Jan, Michelle, what do you think about setting goals that you only think you're going to achieve?
I think that's the normal default in it that people go to.
Yes.
You're right in what you say, where you've tried something before, but if it's with different people in a different situation, you're going to get a different outcome because you've grown. But
yeah,
we don't see that at the time. Sometimes we get a little bit illogical with ourselves, don't we? That fear comes up. But
yeah,
we do know that we've got transferable skills, and we do know that we can do what's needed to be achieved. But sometimes we don't like to think we're stretching ourselves too much.
yeah. Playing it small again, isn't it?
I think
Playing it small.
I think you just see it as bite-sized, don't you? So you think, how can I achieve that massive thing? I'll have to bite-size it. But then you get to like the second bite and you're thinking, oh, I might have bit off more than I can chew here. But you know you can do it, and you know it's going to come right for you. So I think you're right. I can give that advice while I'm talking to you, but I can't hear it myself when I need it.
That's it, isn't it? That's it. So, Michelle, have you thought about that? About maybe the goals that you set yourself are just about being achievable?
Yeah, well, it's often my case, really.
Yeah.
For me as well, I always need other people's opinions and help with things. And if they say something, oh well, that's not going to be any good doing that, then you just sort of like sweep it under the table and think, oh, I'll do something else then.
Yeah. So when I said family has set your boundaries, their expectations, you're asking them the question.
Yeah.
And then you're already, so their expectations of, oh, that won't work.
Yeah.
You're just going off that then, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Which we want some encouragement and advice from people, but their expectations might be lower than yours.
Yeah.
And it's not about you or your capabilities. Sometimes it's about the world in general.
Yeah, definitely.
So like I always think, I always hear sometimes like, we hear this a lot, and I'm not saying like, I know you've both gone off on your own journey in different ways and being self-employed and run different things. But there's this thing of like, oh, we should just get a safe job. Get a safe job.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
we don't always encourage being self-employed or being an entrepreneur or things like that, or taking risks because, oh, is it safe?
Yeah.
And you have your voice, but then you have external voices saying that to you as well.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah. And then society. Oh, we're in a it's cost of living crisis. Who's going to afford for people to look after the dogs? Do you know? Or who's going to afford to do this? Or so we've got that news and all of that coming in, that it makes a factor on lots of different things that we set ourselves subconsciously, not always consciously.
I think it's the fear of the new environment as well, isn't it? You know, so
Yeah.
environment, new industry. It changes the way that you kind of like see yourself, and you've got to relearn things a different way, and you then think you're not fast enough, and you're like, oh no, you know, and that puts you doubt in as well. But I think it's the people who you're around as well. If they're going to nurture you and lift you up and take you with you and grow you, if you like, then you know you've got that support network around you. But the unknown is the scary bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because
It's fear.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. It's really, really interesting because well, the next thing we're going to do is about this sort of the why and the fear and looking at your goals. But it's not until you think about your goals and you're talking about it now about like, oh, well, I take on other people's point of view. And then if they say, oh, I don't think that's going to work, well, they just brush it under the carpet then, don't we? We go, oh, that's not going to work then because they don't think so. But you haven't asked loads of people, other people, do you know?
Yeah.
So if you think about a survey, they don't just ask one person.
Yeah.
They'll ask a lot of people.
Yeah, so you're
Getting a
almost
broad.
defending yourself, aren't you, from one opinion rather than, yeah, I see what you're saying there.
You're also, if you're in an environment where, or in a circle and that, where people do certain things, so I don't know, look at it from a different point of view. Health, if you're in a circle where addiction is part of it, right? I'm taking addiction as a thing. You're constantly in that circle. You're more likely to carry on in that circle, aren't you? To break away from that circle is the hardest thing. But to achieve your goal of non-addiction, for whatever it is, to become to break from that addiction, you need to be around different people. But you have grown and you're part of that community. That's part of you, or you see it as part of you. So you don't move out of it. It's very hard to move out of it, and you need people to move out of it to be able to succeed. You can apply that same principle to lots and lots of things that you do, because you think, oh, well, I'd love to do that, but I just can't. Who does that? Who does that? I know nobody. So then you talk yourself out of it, and then you ask somebody, and you probably ask, bizarrely enough, subconsciously, you'll ask the one person that's going to give you the answer you want. You knew they was going to say that, but you still asked them, and they gave you the answer that you knew. The way they go, oh, I don't know if that's very safe, Michelle. So then you go, no, it's not very safe, is it? You're just playing into my fear that I know it's not that safe. Now I'm not going to go and do that. I'm sure there's times when you can relate to that, and then you might keep yourself small. So we call them limiting beliefs, and you can take on you have your own limiting beliefs that you've grown up with over the years. Then we all hit an age where that, you know, we're like, oh, well, women of my age, what we're doing this for? We're normally having a crisis by now, or somebody's told us that. So we go along with it. And then you're also, when you're asking opinions, you might be taking on their limiting beliefs as part of your answer. So it's just starting to be consciously aware of some of these things that are maybe keeping you smaller in your goal setting, on what you want to do and what you can actually achieve. I hope I'm getting you think, bringing things to the forefront. Are you ready for your pen and paper again? I want you to actually write down, what are your impossible goals? I want you to think of some dreams that you've always thought of. This is going to be so hard. But what your dreams, desires, ideas that you've had, these are to you. What comes up, what pops in your mind, write it down. Something that keeps popping up, but you dismiss it. Those goals that you feel out of reach. What can you imagine? What can you see? Don't think about the barriers of time, money, or you don't know how, but just put them down. So I'm going to give you about 5-6 minutes just to go with the flow. And I'm going to take you back to that other list as well, just to remind you of the types of goals. So I want these to be the impossible ones. What you'd love to do, but you've either already been told, oh no, or you maybe not even shared this goal. Never ever told anybody. But I want you to pop it down. Think about personal, health. What would you love to do health-wise, but it just feels unattainable at the moment. It just feels impossible. An example, I ran a marathon. Now, 3-4 years ago, a marathon would have been an impossible goal for me. But we know there's a plan and there's a training plan to go to it. So there might be some health goals on there, lifestyle goals, business. The ones that you just feel, you just, oh, I ain't putting that down because I'll never achieve it. Have you always fancied doing a course or going down a different avenue? Or travel somewhere? I'm sure there's an impossible financial goal, you know. Everyone tells me they want to win the lottery, but actually, it's not just the lottery win. How are we doing, ladies?
I'm done, Sally.
How many have you managed to get?
I got 5.
Oh, brilliant.
I
Are you
was shocked at them
surprised?
5, actually.
You've
But
what?
as soon as I was a bit shocked at them, and when I looked at them, I went, oh, not a single one is about money, actually.
Yeah. How are you doing, Michelle? I was going to say something then, but I'll check in with Michelle first. How are you doing?
Yeah, I've done 4.
4.
Yeah.
How to both of you? Obviously, answer one at a time. But how easily, Michelle, did that come? Those 4 come to you?
it comes quite easily, but like I say, it's those impossible things that you just think, well, that'll never happen.
So you've already thought that already. You've wrote it down.
Usually, well, it's usually those dreams that normally, like I say, well, yeah, one of them was for me was to like financially sort of like free in a way, so
Yeah.
like even my husband can leave his 9 to 5 job. But you think, you know, at the back of your head, it's like, well, how would you get there, sort of thing.
So you're already thinking the how
Yeah.
already. Yeah. Yeah. It's our
Yeah.
natural default mode. That's all we've ever been programmed.
Yeah.
What would financial freedom look like? What would you be doing? Why do you want financial freedom?
Probably just to go wherever I wanted, whenever I wanted. You know, for me, I think it's coming out of that whole system where, you know, you can't take your kids out of school for this, you know, unless you get fined. You know, just being able to be free to say, right, kids will go in 3 days a year. You know, that would be amazing.
Yeah. So there's a few like shoots off that, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's like the freedom to just go on holiday
Yeah.
and the holiday, the
It-
flexibility.
Yeah. And not necessarily abroad, you know, just
No.
touring, you know, going to the UK, going to like, because we've been enjoying these, you know, like walks since I've been doing my dog walks, and, you know, going to go see waterfalls or, you know, the Lake District, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And how would you make that? How would that make you feel?
Well, yeah, I think it would just be amazing that you'd be able to just go there, do whatever walks, and look at all the natural beauty, and, you know, just take everything, all the walks, and then, you know, like all the beauty and everything, and show the kids.
Does that feel impossible now you're talking about it?
No. Probably not totally impossible.
We don't jump to impossible straight away. We've got a journey along the way. So there's maybe snippets of your journey
Yeah.
that you could do, which we'll come into. Jan, how did you get on with yours? Did you say they come to you quite quickly, but you were surprised at some of them?
Yeah, I mean, my mum's got a terminal illness, so she's end of life care now. Having lost my dad only 2 and a bit years ago, it kind of brings you home to the fact that your parents are that they're not there forever.
Mm.
And I suppose because what she's got is pulmonary fibrosis, which is an untreatable condition. So for me, it would be to save mum. And I know that's impossible. So that's always going to be top of my list. But some of the things that I put on there was, and my last one that I wrote down, I was a bit shocked about, and I wrote, see my own worth. And I think that's because a lot of people say, oh, you're great at this and you're fantastic at that. And I just see it as a normal everyday thing. So I don't see that. I love it when you help people and people say things like that, but that feeling you get when somebody says that, it's a right shock. You know, you don't know how to take it. You're almost like, you don't feel you're worthy of that compliment, or you're worthy of that kind of, not glory, but what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you've done
Achievement.
that.
It's
Yeah,
achievement,
you've done
isn't it?
that. And
Yeah.
and you still feel like you've not done enough.
Yeah.
Or I do. I always feel like I haven't done enough, and I always beat myself up a bit about it. So
Yeah.
I'm my own worst critic. So to actually be able to feel and see my own worth would be something that I know would help me achieve some of them impossible goals.
Yeah.
So why it's at the bottom of my list, I don't know, but it was the last thing that I come to, and I was just like, oh yeah.
Well,
everyone says that.
sometimes it's not always the order in which you rank them or you can achieve them. It's
Yeah.
the first ones that pop into your head. which obviously your mum will be, and
Of
that
course,
really is like, you know, but what you can do is then look at things that you can do to just help that situation, but you're not,
Yeah, that's it.
it's beyond,
Get the
you
best
know,
out of the time, don't
but
you?
you get
That's
out
all
of
you
that.
can do. Yeah.
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 But when you write a list like this, and I think given more time and you went back to it, it would expand further. It's not always the order in which you're going to do it or the order in which you would rank it, because you're working off your consciousness, and your subconscious needs to start to come forward of what it is actually, and you're starting to trickle a bit, because it was like, well, there's 2 girls there actually. It's almost saying those impossible goals, even if I reach them, I probably wouldn't recognize it, because I don't have that feeling of self-worth. So when I achieve that goal, I still don't believe in myself that I've achieved it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you need to tackle that one, because that'll open up the doors to all the other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And at the moment, that feels impossible.
Yeah. I think
But
it's hard when it's you, isn't it?
yes,
the
well,
hard
this is
bit.
the other side thing. I'm talking about us, you for an hour and a half now. So, you know, that's the scary bit. So hold on to those goals for me. And we're going to do another little bit. And this bit is going to really get your brain thinking. So I'm just going to skip along this, because I put that list back there. And those impossible goals, as Michelle experienced, she started to talk about what it was. And then it started to me to sound quite possible. But one of the questions I started to ask you, Michelle, and I wanted to both of you to do it too, apart from your top goal, which I know you've got, Jan, is your other goals. And you might start putting other goals down. That's not a problem. To all of your goals is this. Look at your 1 to 3 year goal and your impossible goal. So look at all the goals. Take each one. And I just want you might number them and then write a number next to them so it makes sense to you when you come back to it. I want you to ask yourself these questions. Why? Why does that goal matter to you? Why do you want it? Then I want you to ask yourself, why could you not achieve this goal? How would you feel if you achieved this goal? And then once you've done that, we're going to do the last bit, which is look at, and you might guess this as you're going along anyway. I want you to look at your 1 and 3 year goals and ask yourself, are they going to actually lead you any closer to your impossible goal? So I'm going to give you probably about a good 10 minutes on this one. It'll go quick. But I want you to ask yourself them questions and write it down. Just let the thoughts flow. Let it just flow through as it's going. Look at your goals and ask yourself, why do you want that goal? Why does it matter? Why have you put that goal down? On your 1 and your 3 year, and then your impossible. And then look at them. Your 1 year and your 3 year might be achievable, but why could you not achieve it? Sometimes there would be things that's going to get in the way. And then there might be things that's just your own self. And then how would you feel if you achieved these goals? Just write down some words of how you'd feel. Let me know when you're
I'm okay. I'm done.
you're right.
I'm
You're getting
good.
darker and darker in there, Michelle.
I know. I was just about to say, can I just put the light on? And
Yeah,
I
I'll let
also
you
need,
put the light on, hon.
and I
We might
also need,
disappear.
and I also need to disappear just to use the loo as well. I won't be a minute.
Absolutely.
I'm shocked it's not me first, if I'm honest. It's usually me that says me below, isn't it? I'll tell you what's interesting, Sally, when you start trying to think of things to write down, you don't realise what you're writing down. You're almost like doing it, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So like as I
Yeah.
was thinking of like my 1 year, I was writing stuff, which I don't do enough, if I'm honest. I should do a journal really.
Yeah.
And the same with the 3 year one, when you start writing it, I'm just reading it all back now and I'm thinking, I don't even remember writing that.
Yeah.
But
You
when
you offload it out and it
you
starts to come out.
you
But
do,
you've got to
and
be asked the question and sit.
I'll be honest, I was one of these people where therapy wasn't for me. Don't make me write stuff down and throw it away, and don't make me put it in a box. And I wouldn't even acknowledge it because I didn't see the worth in it, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
So this has kind of highlighted a couple of things for me that I don't write enough. So thank you for that, because
Oh, yeah,
I'll
right.
use that in other stuff.
Yeah, it's and I'm not asking you to throw this away or anything like that. These are there for you to look back on and go, oh right, yeah, I did do that. Or
Yeah,
what might happen as well, or should happen and probably will happen, and we're going to throw it out there, is that you will start ticking off these without even realizing. Or if you do realize,
yeah,
start to tick them off. That's the point. But
yeah.
some of that will come to fruition. Now you've given it focus.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's just highlighted to me that I don't think of me enough, which sounds really selfish, and I hate that.
No,
But
why? Because we have to. If we don't think of us and what we can do, we can't help others. We can't.
now I know it's a real chicken and egg situation, isn't
Yeah.
it? But it's no, it's been really helpful so far.
Yeah. Oh, good. That's part of it. So, did you find writing down your why, got you
Yeah,
thinking?
I didn't expect it to. I didn't expect it to be because of what it is, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
you don't often look at your reason for why. You just see an injustice, or I just see an injustice, or I see something that needs fixing, or I can't walk past stuff in a shop. If it's on the floor, I pick it up. If it's fell over, I have to do. I'm a really irritating person. I have to kind of like tidy the shop up as I'm walking around shopping. But I think that's just because I feel like if it's tidy, my mind's tidy,
Yeah.
which sounds really daft, but it's just how
No.
you work sometimes. But
Yeah.
I've never written anything down as to why I'd feel a certain way, or I didn't expect it to say what it says. I
Yeah.
expected it to be more about the actual mechanism of what I want to do, rather than this has come out around feeling. But I know I'm a really feeling kind of emotional person, so I shouldn't be shocked at that, but I am when I'm reading it.
Yeah. But the feelings, your feelings, are the most powerful part of why you do something. It's why you do it, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it gives you the drive, doesn't it, and the ambition, because you just won't. If it matters to you, your passion might come out as frustration to others, but to you, your passion is drive because you just want to get it done.
Yeah.
And other people might see it differently and go, well, actually, you've got to do this, this, and this. But sometimes you can be like a bull in a china shop because you're like, no, I know I can do this. And it's only when you get to the end of it and people go, oh, wow, well done, you're almost like, well, I knew I could do it, so I almost don't feel I need that well done. It's like a real silly brain kind of thing with me, where I just think, well, it's just another day, I'll just do something else tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah.
give myself that chance to
Celebrate.
enjoy that moment.
Yeah.
I'm almost embarrassed for myself, which is really stupid, because you should be proud of yourself and put photos all over of what you've done, and you know, like, absolutely be proud as punch. But sometimes, I mean, with me, definitely, I just don't feel that kind of, I don't feel like I should be doing that, because what I've done is just something you should be doing.
Yeah.
But you get what I mean?
Yeah,
You just,
it
you mind
comes
trap yourself.
natural. Yeah, it comes natural to you. But there is this side where take out work or take out any scenario. If you will do something more because of the feeling it gives you. So joy, happiness, that's how you want to be, isn't it? You want to be healthier because you'll feel better. And
Yeah.
if you focus on that, that will be the bit that's motivate you. I'm
Yeah.
giving health and weight loss for an example.
Yeah.
If you get to your ideal weight and you still don't feel happy and healthy, then the number on the scales doesn't matter.
No.
You have to feel that. You have
That's
to
right.
embody that. You have to be that person that you've worked on to become,
Yeah.
or else you're forever like chasing it. So when we chase goals, sometimes we get hung up in the what it is, and actually it's the feelings that's going to motivate us. It's the feelings you're going for. It's the feeling of freedom.
Well, yeah,
It's
because
feeling
you've got that. Yeah, I agree with you, because it's like I always say to people, if you can do a job really well 2 ways, but you'll only do it to its best ability if you've enjoyed it. If you've done it out of because somebody said to you you're going to do that, and it's out of fear, you'll do the basic just to do the task. But if you do it because you really love it and you enjoy it, it'll just be a million times better. It's the same
and
kind
you
of thing,
enjoy
isn't
it.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you enjoy it, so you get something from it. If you get stressed, for instance, stress can be induced by lots of reasons, and some of that is that you're not doing something that you enjoy. You're doing something because you have to, and it's not in align with you. You're forced down a rabbit hole, and it doesn't feel right, and you need to make a change. But
Yeah.
if you're doing something, that saying where if you're doing something you love, you never do a day's work. It's almost to a point where work and loving what you do and that almost sort of mix together, isn't it? And it's the feelings that we strive for, and it's the goals that you'll change those goals will move.
Yeah.
Michelle, what did you find when you put your whys and how would you feel?
A lot of it was I'd just feel amazing that I've done everything in the power to like help me and my family. Some of my goals was to like be more healthy. We have got an allotment, and then we've had it for 2 years, and I've still not read any of my gardening books to be able to really take on, and achieve growing our own food. So it was kind of like learning more on that and being able to provide food for the family and stuff. So
and how would that make you feel?
Just I know I'd feel amazing that, because we have like grown other things like before, and just to know that you've planted it, from a little seed, watched it grow, and then to be able to say to our kids, they're our strawberries. Like we've got these lovely strawberry and cream sort of thing for pudding. Yeah, they're our strawberries.
And how would that make you feel?
Just really proud that, like we've been able to achieve it.
And how else would that make you feel?
Probably just like
it
feeling
makes you
good
feel
that I've come and learnt it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was just going to say. Yeah.
Yeah, because you which we do and we do loads of things for everybody else, right? And I'm not, and we all do it, and it's part of who we are, what we are, and it's part of our role. But also it's remembering what it'll do for you,
Yeah.
because you
I
talked a
do.
lot about others.
Yeah, I do struggle to sort myself out. I've always been told that.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, what would it do for you? And it's like, oh, well, I'd be, but you was reverting it back out again because it was going, well,
Yeah.
I'd be proud because I've done it for others. It's like, no, actually, it'd make, if you was having, also, if you was having those fresh produce, you'd feel glad, you know, you'd feel proud that it's grown and everything like, but you'd feel you'd feel healthier.
Yeah.
You'd feel that, so it's what you feel as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I usually, like I say, forget about me.
Have you, when you look at your goals, have you projected out what it is for everybody else in your goals and not what your goals mean for you?
Probably. A lot of them are, yeah. It's what I could do for me and my family. But then, like, to me, like, my family is everything. Like,
Oh God, yeah,
my boys
yeah,
and
yeah.
all that.
We all, everybody is like that, isn't it? But sometimes we can get lost in that as well. Like we'll do everything for everybody, and then there's nothing left for us.
Yeah. I think
There's
that's
not
why
all,
I'm doing this whole thing in the first place, because I do like lose track of why I'm doing something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, we all do it, and it's our natural instinct to do it. Of course, we're going to be caregivers. Of course, you want the family and everything is part of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then there's you, and if you're giving off and looking after you in the best way possible and your health and everything like that, that has a knock-on effect because you're healthy, you can look after them better.
Yeah.
You've got more to give because you've got more energy.
Yeah, definitely. And
you're happier, so they're happier.
yeah. And I've already seen a difference since I've left Royal Mail.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, being happy and going out for more walks and just loving life.
Yeah, yeah. And that probably, that first edition, sort of doing that, you'd have gone, oh, well, that, like, and then you don't have the same salary, therefore you can't provide the same, but actually it makes you happier. So you being happier creates a happier environment for everybody else.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's just, so it's not excluding that your family is part of you. It's going, you still need to look after you.
Yeah.
As well as you're looking after everybody else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's our default mode, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know
I'll
what?
put myself, I'll feed myself last. I'll do it, you know, I'll just have whatever's left, which is fine. We'll do that. But we then take that rule and we put it across everything, don't we?
Yeah.
Everything.
I think it's because we want to be providers, don't we? We want to know that we can provide for our family no matter what. So we almost kind of sacrifice everything that's our little bit of free time because we can do something for someone else. I think it's just about being natural providers, but it don't have to feel like it's a massive, not, I wouldn't say a burden, but stress more than anything. But I totally agree with you, Michelle. I think that is the most important thing is your family, and it's about trying to balance them both together, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what
yeah.
You know, sometimes struggle with, and we need that support with. So
yeah, it's struggle when we do everything for everybody else, and you're absolutely tired out, and you need a time, you need something for you to just like be. And sometimes your goals might be like, do you know what? I fancy doing an online course. I'm going to give myself that time to do an online course because I'll be less stressed. And me being less stressed means I can help everybody else better. So it's really like balance, isn't it? Between, it's not going, don't ignore, oh, well, that's it now. I'm done. I'm just concentrating on me. It's that balance of going, well, if I do that, that'll really help that. Do you know? It's sort of a balance, isn't it? I love the idea of you getting back out in that I've forgotten the word now. Oh my god, allotment. That's my age now. So looking at your goals, do your 1 to 3 year goals lead you anywhere closer to your impossible goals? Are they like stepping stones?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think they're going to naturally, if you're driven by certain things, I suppose would be normal, wouldn't it?
But are your goals, Jan, going to lead you to your impossible
Yeah.
goals?
Well, I think so. I'd say yeah. With my brain, yes. With your brain, maybe not.
It's only your brain that counts, hon. I can throw a question mark in there.
Oh, thank God for that.
It's just a question because sometimes we'll go a 1 year goal and a 3 year goal, and then we'll have this impossible goal, and they all don't marry.
Yeah. Well, I'm shocked mine do then, because I'm probably the most random person ever. So that's pretty good for me, Sally. Quite proud of yourself there.
Do yours match up in any way?
Kind of. Obviously, like my 1 year goals with me being healthy for me, and good exercise routine and everything. Learn more on my gardening. They're like my smaller goals. But it was also like learning. I do have some courses that I have signed up for and never actually, I haven't passed any of them yet. I hadn't started some of them. I did do a nutrition course and just finished that. That's took ages. So because I've done that and then I've still got these other courses, I'm thinking that'll extend hopefully my knowledge and things like that and being healthy. One was to be able to again, it comes down to my boys as well, but it's for me to be able to pass on good, important information. Like there's only so much school will teach them, but I find that like growing your own food and all the important things are all missed. So being able to like pass that on, and give them that knowledge as well. So it kind of comes onto that.
Yeah.
And coming out of the system, being financially free. So maybe if I learn some of this stuff, that I might be able to become, my own boss and of other stuff as well.
How brilliant is that? Because you've jumped from seeing that impossible goal to seeing those goals and decided actually one's going to give you some freedom or the feeling of freedom.
Yeah.
Feeling, want it.
Yeah,
so
it was, yeah.
Feeling along the way, even if it's not the big goal initially, the feeling along the way.
Yeah.
Those little steps are going to take you to that end feeling of that financial freedom. But it might change itself a little bit, mightn't it? But you're taking steps towards it.
Yeah.
And as you was talking, you talked yourself into that, didn't you? I could see your brain and your eyes are going.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
oh, actually, that means that if I do that, that goal doesn't seem impossible.
No. Definitely not since like obviously leaving Royal Mail and stuff.
Yeah.
Even just starting Royal Mail in the first place, like 4 years ago, to be in an office job for 13 years, and I did get made redundant in COVID, and my husband, again, he encourages me a lot of the time, and he encouraged me to just go with whatever, and try out. And he was like, "Why don't you do this?" And I was thinking, I can't be a postie. what are you on about? And I was so unfit. Do you know, like when I first started, you just realise like how many steps they actually do.
Yeah.
And again, that was an impossible thing. And people was like, you don't, what do you want to be a postie for? Do you know, like, why are you driving a van? Why are you walking around? Do you know, like, there was thinking, I don't know if it was not looking down as such, but because I was in this like big office job, there was thinking it might have like not degraded me, but do you know what I mean? Like coming down there.
Downgraded. Yeah.
Yeah, just by becoming a postie. But I'm so like grateful for that move because it made me think, right, actually, and it changed a lot of my healthy, like my eating anyway, my habits, because I needed to be able to do the job. I was coming home, my youngest was like 3 at the time, and I just remember coming home one day from work and he wanted to play trains. I went upstairs with him. He had like this little train table in his bedroom, and I put all the trains and that on the floor. Next thing I knew, I was waking up. I'd like been like pulling these trains along and fall asleep. So, you know, again, it sort of helped me, but helped me with my health, you know, like as well. And obviously helped me with my kids and being able to like do the playing and stuff with him.
Yeah. So it all had a knock-on effect, didn't it?
Yeah,
So that goal of looking after. So that was a real good example as well of you. Do you know when I said it sounds selfish when we talk about ourselves as if we're like putting ourselves first, but if you didn't change your eating to give yourself more energy, you couldn't play. So it all has a knock-on effect by you going, I need to look after me, because if I can't look after me, I'm not going to be able to look after anybody else.
Yeah.
And it's the same rule on everything. Like Jan was saying about, if Jan doesn't feel worthy of the praise when she gets it, then she's forever looking for it. It's not going to rub off that it's not being selfish, because she needs that. She needs to feel that self-worth, don't you, Jan? You need to feel it. You know, that's not being selfish. That's just like, if you don't feel it, then you're feeling a bit stuck, and then you don't know where to go next because you think, oh, I've got the confidence, but you have, because you've already done it.
Yeah.
So it's like we're conditioned, basically. We're conditioned from a young age. It's more females than males. It's a female thing where it's like, play yourself down, play yourself small. You're there to look after everybody else, which we do, but we have to look after us a little bit, or else we're going to bloody conk out.
Yeah.
Do you know? Like, and you just said then, didn't you? You was like, but that's brilliant, where you've already set off this journey. Now you're thinking beyond the poster, because that's something forced you, and as I said, like redundancy came up and health and stuff like that, to go down this avenue.
Yeah.
Sounds a brilliant journey.
When you look at some of the, you know, people who've been on Dragon's Den, for instance, and things like that, they're exactly like us. They're exactly like you, Michelle, where they think just about their family and their boys, and their, you know, like bringing them up in a nurturing life. And you know, you could be the next person that invents, you know, a new product for kids, or a new food craze, or whatever that's healthy, you know. So you can hear it in your voice. You've got all that passion.
Yeah.
Just
it's easy to say
directing
to
it.
someone else, isn't it, when you're listening? But when it's you,
when it's you,
Exactly.
Jan,
Totally
you need
different.
to harness that power and that passion, and it comes from you, because it's the only person it's coming from, but it impacts others.
Yeah.
So your passion and your drive for that fresh, healthy food is going to impact your family, absolutely. And then it might impact others, because you might go beyond your family.
Yeah.
Because you've got that passion and drive. And you need to harness that with like your courses and finding out more information, because that then helps you. You thrive off it, keeps you going. That's your little goals, right? I need to do that course. I need to do that. That feels like the selfish bit, but actually what it's doing is giving you the ability to help others.
Yeah.
And that's how you switch it around. You go, if I do this, I can help others. Not helping others first, and then I come second, because you got less of that jug to share, haven't you? Because you've not filled it up.
Yeah.
So Brilliant, ladies. Brilliant. So this is what we call some action moves. What are your steps that you're going to do to bring all this together, to start working towards these goals? These, we've decided now they're not impossible. Do you feel, Jan, your goals are not impossible now?
To a degree, yeah. I mean, obviously, there's things that only, yeah, I do, yeah. With barring the one for my mum, obviously, but yeah, I do.
Yeah. So now it's sort of saying, right, I call them the action moves. Michelle, you've already sort of spoken about some of them. And I'm going to go into some ideas. But it's to do something that's going to take you closer to your goal. Your 1 year, your 3 year, but your impossible one that's now possible. There's always something to do now, however small, that will open up the next step to you. The steps may be unseen until you take the first step. Every act is an act of self-definition and creation. So whatever you do, it'll take you on to the next bit. You just got to do it. You just got to take a step. You've got to just try and act deliberately and with awareness that each act takes you closer to your goals, not further away from them. Act with purpose. Be excited about the journey, which I can tell already. You're like, oh, actually, you know, this is what I could do and this could be quite exciting. Be patient, because different to SMART goals where we put a time scale on it, we've put some time scales, said 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. It's funny, you know, when I mentioned earlier about winning the lottery, and some people win the lottery and they're never ready and they lose it. And some people go, I'm going to be a millionaire. This is Trotter. Do you remember? Next year, I'm going to be a millionaire. What if he was a millionaire next week? What if it came sooner? What if it came later? As long as you knew you was taking steps towards that goal and enjoying the journey and enjoying each step that you took because you knew you was getting there, you're already creating those feelings of freedom, self-worth, enjoyment, happiness, because you're working towards it. You're not stuck. Yeah, you might not have the money necessarily. I haven't touched on money. There's a whole host of things with money. But the feelings that you have, you can recreate before you reach that impossible goal. Or you can reach those feelings before you reach the impossible goal. Being grateful for every opportunity and being curious. So be glad of every door that opens, but be curious of what does actually come your way. Is this an opportunity that's going to get me closer to that thing that I'm looking for? And by being curious doesn't mean you're going to say yes or no. It just means you'll have a look and you'll decide and you'll go with your gut. Yeah, that feels like it's going to be a step. Knowing whatever step you take is going to be the right step. There are no wrong steps. We often sometimes believe that, don't we? That, oh, I took a wrong direction. It wasn't. It was just used. That was a lesson that was meant to be learned. So I have a little thing as well, which I call the power of I am statements. And the power of I am is saying that you are that thing now and believe in it. So this is another writing task, which we won't do just yet, but it's something to think of and to do, is the I am statements. So I am is a successful business with X amount of paying clients, for instance. I am X job role that you want. I am earning X amount per month. I am whatever pound weight you want to be. You put the statement out there of what you want to come. to be, and you think about that statement. So Janet, I'm thinking of yours particularly on this one. Believing in yourself. I am successful. I am able to do X, Y, and Z. Because when we change it to I am, it sounds more powerful. It's more positive. It's saying you are. And my other little power move is sometimes we don't always know the answer or the step towards the next bit. But I ask myself a question. Do you know, like you said, you ask people their advice. You said it, Michelle, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know all the answers. You've just got to get them out. And sometimes I use this power move to try and think of what next or give me that motivation. Ask yourself the question as the person you want to be. So what would the Sally, who is X amount of pound in weight, so I put my goal weight, what would she be doing now? Say I'm in the shop, for instance, and I'd think to myself, well, the Sally would be buying really nice healthy food, and she'd be doing this, and she'd be doing that. I don't chastise myself. I don't go, well, she won't be buying chocolate. Bloody hell, can't not buy. I'm not saying the negative. I'm thinking the positive. Just ask yourself the question as if you're, well, what would that person do? So imagine a person, imagine yourself. What would Michelle be doing? The one that's working on her allotment and creating things for other children to learn from. And the question would be, well, she'd do some online courses so she gets an idea of what's out there and how people are training at the moment. You actually, that answer would come to you.
Yeah.
So it sounds a bit like thingy, but it's quite a good one to do and write down as a journaling exercise. Do you know, like the same as the question why? Jan, can you think of a question that you could ask yourself in the relating to your goals?
Yeah, I'd probably ask myself what I'm doing that's stopping myself achieving them. Because I guess that's the only thing that I'm in control of.
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. Or put the goal down that you want to be or where you want to be, even if you don't know it completely. And then say, what would the Jan do who is achieving that goal now? What would she be doing? I twisted it with other examples. So quite often people don't like going to networking, for instance. So it's like, what would the Sally doing who enjoys going to networking? Well, she'd be prepping herself and she'd be feeling confident. So you're putting yourself in that shoes of that person. It's a bit of brain tricking and it's a bit of like living in that person as you are, not as you are now in where you are, but where you want to go. What would the confident person do? What would that person, you can sometimes pick a person, can't you? What you can think of, what would they do?
Yeah.
And ask the question. You're asking your question to yourself. So you can write them down. It'd be surprising. Do you know when like you put the why, what comes out as you start to ask yourself? So, what's holding you back or who is holding you back? And Jan, you already answered this one, didn't you, hon?
It's always me. It is though often yourself, isn't it? That's what you do. You do kind of work out. Even
So
if it's the hard way.
how can you stop yourself from holding yourself back?
I suppose for me, it's about going with my gut feeling. Excuse me. And making sure that when you get that little nervy feeling so far through, when you think, oh, maybe not, just believing in yourself and actually going, you know, I've thought this through, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Just believing in yourself that actually, I don't know. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and sometimes you don't know what that reason is at the time, but later on in life you find out what it is.
Yeah.
And it all makes sense. It started kind of like the dots join together. So
Yeah.
I suppose it's just being brave and just knowing what you believe in and knowing what you want to do and what you want to achieve. And if you know you can do it, then you just got to give it everything, haven't you? And just be brave. And I kind of like, I was going to jump in, but I always do that. I'm really trying not to. With Michelle, when she was talking about like, you know, being safe around money and finances and stuff, I totally get that, because, you know, I spent 25 years or more in retail, and I loved every minute of it, but it was really hard work, because you have to be like a social worker, you know, you've got thousands of people coming through your door, and you're accountable for tons of people and tons of money, and you don't actually get the credit for that as being a retail manager. People just think that you put beans on a shelf, but my point is, it's a reliable, steady, safe job. So therefore, you can do it in your sleep. And the longer you've done it, the more you know that business. Blah 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 blah. It becomes safe. And you're absolutely right. You want to pay your mortgage. You want to feed your kids. You want to give them the best of everything you can give them. Don't you? So you almost keep that safe job because you're frightened of the unknown. And for me, like, I've done a couple of roles since I left retail, but what I learned in retail was so vital for people skills. They just don't teach you that in this industry world now. It's just all fast paced and everybody's just whizzing around, and you know, people think you know everything they know, and you don't, and you're almost intimidated to a degree, and you forget about all of your transferable skills that you've learned in all these other jobs. And you know, you speak to people like Sally and you think, yeah, I have got that, and you're right, I can do this. And for that moment, you almost have that fire back in your belly, so you have to kind of harness it. And that's what I've took from this tonight, is that actually you've kind of given me a little bit more depth to myself as to what I actually want. Because sometimes my kids will say to me, I don't know what I want to do when I'm 21, and I'm thinking, I'm 46 and I still don't know.
Yeah,
I still haven't got a clue. I kind of know what I like to do, but is it a job?
Yeah. And
You
well,
know.
it's society, isn't it, as well? We've been brought up where we have to know everything of what's going to be next.
Yeah.
We have to be in something that's going to last for 40, 50 years. But
That's
when really
it.
we're not programmed like that.
Well, no, and
The next step move and then just go with it. You was talking earlier, it's about feeling safe. It's about there's fear, lots of fears that go around where we'll stand in that same position, and that fear around money and things like that. What we don't know is the unknown. What you don't know is, but you can only go with your gut feeling, or you trust that what's going to happen will be right, is you don't know that your next move will not earn you more money than you've ever known. You're just assuming it'll never earn you as much. But you don't know that. We don't know the future. All you can do is take a step forward. Like you did when you're younger, you don't always think about that. As soon as we've got the bills to pay, we start looking at that. And don't get me wrong, we've got to do that. But there's not to say that what you do next will not just do that and more for you. It's sort of expanding it, isn't it? But it's fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of judgment, which you've mentioned, fear of what if you don't like it? What if I've made the wrong move? Then you can change it. What if it doesn't work out? You'll do something else. You'll always find the next answer, but what we've got to have is faith in yourself that you'll do the next best thing. You'll do the right thing because it's the right thing at the right time. And trust yourself that you can do it. One of the things you said, Jan, was all is fear-based, and it's just giving yourself that boost into it to know that you can do it.
Yeah, and I think I agree with Michelle, you know, because you do almost, I do anyway, I almost need that kind of quantification of someone, that kind of, oh, that was good, or that was right, or that's the way we do it, or you almost need that little kind of signal in your head to go, yeah, I am doing what they need me to do, or I am doing what I need to do, or I am doing the right thing. But you almost then, I mean, I certainly sometimes, if it's something complicated, I tend to not believe the first time when I'm thinking, that must have been summer. I'll just have another look. And then you become a little bit irritating because they have forgot they've been in that industry for however long, and they've forgot how it feels to be the new person, or they've forgot how, I don't know, they might do their job in their sleep because they've been doing it for a long, long time. And you're coming along going, oh, can you just is this right? And can I just check this? And you almost then become your own irritant because you're worrying that you're going to ask too many questions. But I like to know what I'm doing. So I'm one of these where I'll ask a million questions and I'll irritate the life out of everyone if it means I'll get the right information I need to do the job, because I don't want to feel like that again. So if I
And
get
that's
all
not
that
wrong though, is
information,
it?
no, I don't think it is. I think that's quite proactive. That, you know, you're actually not wanting to feel like that again. And there'll be other people in the room that might not want to ask that question, but will feel the same. And actually, if you don't understand something properly, you're never going to do it right. So you're still going to get it wrong, but it's just going to take longer to ask that question. So I'd rather just ask it.
Yeah, it's but that comes back to the judgment feeling, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so, because like a lot of people are embarrassed to put the hand up and kind of ask a question, but I've always been that little irritating kid at the front, like at the class, who goes, "Oh yeah, I'll answer that. Yeah, I'll answer that." And not because I knew everything, but because no one else was saying out, and I felt awkward, so I
Yeah.
put my hand up.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few. What we'll find is that over time, there's like different beliefs that will think, oh well, if I do that you'll unravel different things. The more you journal down and the more you dig into what you do, and you'll find the things that are holding you back. But the first thing to do is look at your goals, look at where they're going to take you, but then take the next steps, some action steps. And it might be small or it might be big, but I've just put a list of some ideas, because all action steps aren't always directly acting at the goal. It could be a side thing to then, if you, sometimes the goal is so like you're that focused on the goal that you don't do anything else, and you become so oblivious to it. So sometimes the answer is to take yourself away from it, to look at it differently. And small steps are taking you towards that goal. And if you think, oh, I'm doing this because I've got that goal in mind, you're more likely to enjoy them, more likely to do them. So I put this list is not exhaustive, but it's things that you could do to think, actually, yeah, could I read some books, some self-help books, some gardening books, some self books about self-worth, or I'm reading books about different ideas, and it will just spark a thought and an idea. Could you do some research into some subjects that you're interested in? Doesn't have to be related to your goal, but there might be an idea that sparks off it. Speak to people about your goals. Put it out there. Put it out there in the universe. I'm looking for this type of work. I'm going to start on my allotment, and I really want for my children to be able to see where things come from. And then people will go, do you know, I wish my children did the same. Can I bring them? It'll spark off ideas. But also, if you're looking for something, how many times do you know when you go, do you know, I'm after a table and chairs, and all of a sudden table and chairs start popping up, and people all of a sudden are selling one. You was never asking for that before. And I'm not just talking about algorithms. I'm just talking about things in general. You might think, I need a new job, update your CV, get prepared, take a course, start a new class, If you need to advertise something, you're looking for something, put some call out there. Start a new routine. Maybe that's what you need, just to switch it up a bit, to get you thinking and get you out of might be in a little bit of a rut with certain things. Start a new routine. You might want to join the gym. Start eating healthy so you can think clearly. Declutter is fabulous. Declutter the mind. We're doing some work like this, writing and journaling, decluttering. There's this idea, this prophecy, this thing. If you want space for a new beginning, you've got to create it. If you've got an old pattern that you're going on with and you're still repeating that old pattern, you're not creating any space for that new thing to come in. That's physically, mentally, in the room, whatever that is. Think about it. Where am I making space for that to come into my life? Am I making time? I'm wanting to go to something, but I'm not making any time. I'm not decluttering. So it's so many ways. You might be thinking financially for that holiday, that new thing. Start a new savings pot. Do you know when you put the pot on? You can get Monzo pots and things like that, or different banking apps. Start a pot. Put the name of it, your girl, on the pot, and you pop in. You might just put £1 in a week, but you're making a step towards that goal. Look at the finances and make savings, or just organize, or just actually know where you are with finances. Are the savings to be made? Are you paying money on subscriptions you don't even use it? And that goes back to decluttering your email box, your finances. It's absolutely anything. Get rid of something, the energetic level that could be keeping. Old documents. The energetic level, it's sitting there. You don't feel it, but it's there. Get rid. Old uniforms, old clothes, anything. Get rid. Develop a plan. It's not right down on the list, but develop the plan. You've got some actions. Take some actions. What you're going to do? Don't have to be massive. Just needs to be a plan. Ask for help or advice. God, we don't like doing that one, do we?
No.
Yeah, it's out there. Get a coach or a mentor. Obviously, I'm going to say that, but there's lots of different people out there in different ways that you could seek or go to courses and seek help and advice. Online groups, find an accountability buddy or a group. You might just need to be more visible and put yourself out there with what you're doing. You might want to join a networking group or a group focusing on what you're looking at. You might want to take up some holistic practice, so like meditation, yoga, lots of different things there that might just open up different ideas, give you a clear path. Be curious about opportunities. Look at them. Is it going to give you an idea? Sometimes it's not always a topic that gives you the idea, but it's something that's aside from that. A book might be mentioned, or there's loads of learnings to be done, and just try something new. Has that sparked any ideas and thoughts of your next action steps, ladies?
Yeah, completely.
We've gone way past time. I'm gone on and on. I can't believe it. I've just looked.
I have started some of the stuff as well. I have started decluttering as well. We did that last week when my husband was off.
Brilliant. Yeah, we've gone on a bit here. Well, we've gone on, but I didn't realise the time. I was thinking, it's only 7:15. Oh. Yeah, Jan, does that help you with some thoughts and ideas?
Really has helped me, actually. Thanks. I've really enjoyed it as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, celebrate was my next one. Make sure you celebrate on what you're doing, on what you're achieving along the way. And you need another goal. When you get the goal, move the goalpost, get another goal along, find another thing that you need to do, because your goal is not to hold on to the goal that you've reached. You move on. You find something else, your next little goal, the next money amount, whatever that is, find it. So I do have a free challenge group starting on the 1st of October. and it's called The Impossible Goals, and it's a challenge for 3 days. I'll be sending out some information about these goals and offers and things in an email after this. So if you fancy joining me, it's just keeping this momentum going, and it's about just continuing and getting some more ideas within a group, a support group. So yeah, I'm going to send out some more information about that. And finally, I really liked this quote, which is on a book that I'm reading, and I thought it was really good. Don't live life by accident or by default, live it by design. Using your own goals, visualization, imagination, and plans, all done consistently, clearly, accurately, and daily. Something, just do something. Oh, I can't believe I've gone on 15 minutes over my time there. I do apologize, ladies, but we got talking as well, didn't we? So that's, you know, added on a bit. But I hope that helped. Does you feel like it's given you a bit of a kick and a thought and a
focus?
Yeah.
It's realigned some of mine as well, to be fair.
Yeah. Alignment is part of that process. So it'd be brilliant if you want to join us in the 3-day challenge starting on the 1st of October, where we'll be just doing this and keeping that momentum going.
Yeah.
And I'll send you out the details of those things. And I'd love to hear. I always love hearing about things, if you've achieved them or things have happened or you've made progress, because I think it's great to share and celebrate those achievements. So, and sometimes you can't always do it with other people. So I love to hear them as well. So you're always welcome to send them to me. So yeah. And I'm going to stop presenting there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry if it went over there by 20 minutes. But hopefully you've got something out of that. You can take it forward and join me on the next challenge.
No, it's been great.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
I'll get my camera working for the next one.
Yeah. This is going to be in a group and a different bit, so you won't need your camera all the time, Jan. So you'll be all right. But
Okay.
yeah, get your camera working in general, hun.
Yeah. It's my signal upstairs. It's horrendous.
Oh, is it? I'm going to love you and leave you because I've kept you too long. You'll be dying for a cuppa. And yeah, but thank you. I really enjoyed doing that. That's time flown by. So,
yeah.
No, it was nice to meet you, Michelle, as well.
Yeah, you too.
Not that you've seen me, but you know, you've heard me.
I'll know you in the street if you walk past you, Jan.
That'll be a blessing for you, I promise you, because I talk for the world.
Thank
right.
you.
See you both later.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.